Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about three interesting cards today. This is going to be a new series. I'm going to start most likely the naming and the style of the videos and different stuff like that will change over time. But basically, as a first video, I just kind of want to go over this. In the future, this will be a little more streamlined, but I wanted to at least start getting some content out here for people. So I'm going to go over three cards in this video and in every subsequent video with this title. Again, still in the works, but my goal with this is to spread awareness of some cards. Some of these cards probably have seen some play, some of them haven't seen much play. I kind of just want to go over why I play the card and maybe give you guys a reason to as well. So at first, with the first card, I want to talk about Lively Dirge. I play this in my Cormella deck. Lively Dirge is one colorless, one black for a spree card. So you can choose to pay for one or both of the cards' uh, abilities so that you can do them in that order altogether. So if you cast Lively Dirge and you do just the top part, then you get to search your library for a card, put that card into your graveyard, and then shuffle. So it is a 3 mana Entomb, which is not good. It does get you any card, which can be a little bit helpful, but obviously that's not the powerful part of it. The powerful part of it is being able to tutor any card, put it into your graveyard shuffle, and then combine it with the bottom part to return up to 2 creature cards with total mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So currently I use this in Cormella to be able to get back important pieces. So to be able to get back things like Bergie, to be able to get things like Thassa, put it in the graveyard and then get it out. Valky to take cards out of people's hands. Valley Floodcaller to combo off. Dualcaster Mage is not really in there for that, but I guess if you have Flash, there is some shenanigans that you could do with that. Um, Basically, it's to get an important piece that I need to combo off back or to present a win. But the thing with Lively Dirge really comes down to is what you're trying to do in your deck. So if you're playing a Malcolm Vile Smasher deck, this could be a way to search for Glinthorn Buccaneer, put it into your graveyard, and get it back out. If you are looking for a 2 mana value combo piece, and maybe you're playing in a white deck of some kind, you're able to possibly get something like a Grand Abolisher back from your graveyard and also entomb another 2 CMC creature to get that back out so that you'll be able to get 2 creatures for the price of 5 mana. But I still think it's worth it. I think that there's a lot of different decks that this could see play in. Hulk decks specifically need certain creatures to be out as sacrifice pieces, sacrifice outlets, things like Blood Artist, different things like that. So there's a lot of value in being able to get back something, but being able to also put something into your graveyard that you know and to get it back out is also very powerful. So, like I said, it's really good with Glinthorn Buccaneer. It's really good in Hulk decks. I think that it's a card that just in general is underutilized. I know that 5 mana is a lot, but with how the game progresses in cEDH, I don't think that it's too much to be able to ask. I think this is a perfect mid-range to late-game card that can get you hard to interact with wins. Obviously, it could be countered, but they both go in order and happen. So if you resolve this and then you put the card into your graveyard, there's no opportunity for the person to be able to go and do something between then. So they can't exile a card from your graveyard. You just get to do the first one and then get to do the second one. Also important that it just says return up to 2 creatures from your graveyard mana value. There's no target, so you don't target anything on that anyway. So you get to do the first part, then the second part, which is very helpful. Like I said, I play it in Cormella. I think it could see a lot more play in different decks. The second card we'll talk about is Weftstalker Ardent. It is 2 colorless, 1 red creature. It's a Drix Artificer. Whenever another creature or artifact you control enters, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. So whenever you have a creature or artifact enter under your that you control enters, then you deal 1 damage each opponent. It also has a warp cost of 1 red. So you may cast this card from your hand for its warp cost. Exile this creature at the beginning of the next end step. You may cast it from exile on a later turn. So obviously, this has a lot of potential with being able to loop creatures and being able to loop artifacts. So when you have something like a Hullbreak Horror and you're able to go infinite by bouncing a Soul Ring and we'll just say a Mox Amber or something, you're able to then deal infinite damage with this guy. You are also able to loop creatures. So if you're doing things like you have a Sack Outlet, you have Dargo, and you have like Burgi out, then you're able to infinitely bring Dargo back and deal damage to everybody. The big deck that I play this in currently is Malcolm Cadiz. Where'd it go? There it is. I play it in Malcolm Cadiz because it is whenever another creature or artifact enters, deal 1 damage each opponent. So if I'm able to turn this into a pirate with Malcolm out, then every time a creature or an artifact would enter, it would deal 1 damage each opponent, which would trigger Malcolm to create me 3 treasures, which then would deal 3 damage, which then would trigger Malcolm 3 times, and so on and so forth, which would kill the table. I think in general that it's a very good card just even to have out, just if you are incidentally playing things like maybe an Elsha or something like that, you're able to probably deal a lot of damage with this. And even being able to warp it out for 1 is very important. I play Drift of Phantasms in this deck, so I'm able to transmute it into this card, and then for 1 red, play it. So for 4 mana, I could present a win, which is pretty awesome. I also really like that it says another creature. A lot of these effects like Reckless Fireweaver and Indigenous Artillerist, Ingenious Artillerist, sorry, and Sunshot all require different things. Tapping artifacts, having an artifact enter, different things like that. This is more flexible for 1 mana, which is pretty awesome. And then at the end of it, it goes away. So if you're not able to win on your turn or do anything, you will still be able to cast this later on to try and present another win. So I think this is a really good card that could see more play. I don't think that this is as powerful as Lively Dirge. I don't think this is going to see play in a lot of cEDH, higher powered decks, but I think there are a lot of fringe decks that could be playing this, comboing off, or just dealing a lot of damage. And then, as promised for the third video, or for the third card for this video, Espers to Magicite. If you watch my channel update, this is the card that I was waiting to talk about. So for 3 colorless and 1 black, each opponent exile, or I said it the wrong thing, just as I did in the channel update. Exile each opponent's graveyard. When you do, choose up to 1 target creature card exiled this way. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and loses all other card types. So we'll just go down one by one and talk about this. Exile each opponent's graveyards at instant speed. So the thing is, it does cost 4 mana, but for me personally, I'm playing this in my Glarb list. So it being 4 mana is a benefit. Now, if you're in a mid-range control style deck, maybe you're playing something like Talion, this is not going to be hard to keep up. A lot of times you are trying to control the board and the flow of the game, and being able to do that with a 4 mana spell is not bad. Being able to exile each opponent's graveyard can stop blue farm from doing multiple things with Underworld Breach. It can also stop Hulk decks and different things, and right on the spot. Now, the other important part of it is when you do, choose up to 1 target creature card exiled this way. So you just exile them all, and you choose the card when you do that. You get to create a token copy of that creature, except it's an artifact and loses all other card types. So the most powerful way that I've used this is if somebody cracks a Ranger Captain. The Ranger Captain goes to their graveyard, the ability's on the stack and gets passed around. You're able to cast Espers while that Ranger Captain's in the graveyard, remove all graveyards, and then you get a copy of Ranger Captain. But it is not a creature anymore. So it makes it a little bit harder to deal with. Obviously with Ranger Captain, you can crack it, so it would be more relevant if it was something like a Grand Abolisher. Because it is no longer a creature, it makes it a little bit more difficult to remove. The other thing is there's no stipulation on the creature that you get. So if somebody destroys They board wipe, maybe they get rid of some big creature. You get to steal something like a Consecrated Sphinx, or you could even steal a Hullbreak Horror. If somebody bins something like a Hulk, you can use this and then steal their Hulk. So there's a lot of potential with this card in general. But like I said, the most powerful way I've used it really is to get access to cards that you don't have access to in the colors that you're in, or to be able to steal a Ranger Captain, basically. I did this at Steel City during event. I was able to stop a player by casting Esper's Magicite. I ended up getting the Ranger Captain, and then I was able to ask the player. I said, I will crack this unless you could promise me that you're not going to win. I still want you to build up your board, and I still want you to get value. But I don't want to just crack this for no reason and then just hurt you either, because that doesn't put either one of us in a better position. So you get a lot of angles with this, a lot of politics and different things. But in general, Gwarb is green, black, and blue. We don't have the best options for silence creatures. So when you're able to use something like this to get a silence creature, you open up potential wins that you didn't have access to before. So I think that this could see play in a lot more black decks, honestly, if mono black or dual colored decks. Um, Anything that wants to kind of keep open mana. My deck is specifically built for instant speed wins, so this is like the perfect thing for me to keep up, to be able to sneak out wins and to sneak out free potential while also being able to hold it up to stop other people from comboing off. Even if I don't have protection for it, oftentimes I'll be able to get other players at the table to be able to protect it, because if I'm using it to stop a Underworld Breach that is comboing off, people are more likely to let me get rid of that graveyard so that way we can stop them from winning. But at the cost of doing that, I also get a creature from a graveyard, which more often than not, if you just look around when you're on turn 3 or 4 and just look at people's graveyards, there's almost always a meaningful creature in the graveyard. Whether it's something that is going to win you the game, or if it's just something that's going to get you good value, varies. But even being able to get a clone from a graveyard and clone a creature or a draw engine on the field still is very powerful at instant speed. And obviously, like I said, in Glarb, it's a 4 CMC spell. So I can Mystical Tutor it to the top and cast it, or I can just have it on top and keep that knowledge to myself. So these are just 3 cards I want to talk about today. Again, it was Esper's Magicite, Weftstalker, Ardent, and Lively Dirge. If you have a deck where you could fit these cards into, just give them a look. Just think about it. Think about what any of these cards could do for your deck. So that's all for today. I'll be back with 3 more cards soon, guys. Peace.